Paulette with Back to Basics Mom here. This morning I have a background video to share with you, and today I created a galaxy. I just made a birthday cake for my daughter for her Sweet 16, and it was galaxy themed, so it kind of got me on the feeling like doing a galaxy background. I hadn't done one for a while. And so first off, start with your favorite watercolor paper. Now, when you're doing the galaxy background, it really doesn't matter. I use actually the watercolor paper I like the least. And I spritz it with a little bit of water. Get your favorite watercolors out. Mine are the Oliver Colorburst. That's what I'm using today because they're nice and super vibrant. And it might seem odd, but you actually want to put some bright colors down first. They're those underlying tones that you'll see in the galaxy background. So some yellows, some pinks, some lighter blues, things like that. So, and there really is no rhyme or reason to how you do this. It's just kind of put it down willy-nilly and it'll all come out in the end, trust me. Now, I will tell you that I created this video actually about a week ago, and I just, between internet troubles and being super busy running my kids this week, I just haven't had time to finish it up and get it posted. And during this week, actually two of my favorite YouTubers, card makers, have just so happened to post galaxy background videos, and that would be Jennifer McGuire and Amy Rasavi from Pretty Paper and Ink. So I am not copying them. I filmed this video over a week ago. Well, probably about a week ago from the day that I'm actually recording this. So it was the first week in August I actually recorded it, and today's, I think, the 11th. Hopefully I'll get it posted today. We will see. Probably not, the way my internet's been going. So you can see I'm just kind of having fun, just putting colors down wherever. And there's going to be a lot of downtime in this video because I do a lot of drying, because I like to dry between layers. And you're also going to realize that no matter what you do, no background is going to come out the same every single time. I don't know if you saw when at the very beginning of the video, I showed the couple I'd already made, and none of them were exactly the same. So again, key tools for this are watercolor paper. I apologize for the noise in the background. My cats are down here wreaking havoc and being silly and goofy. So, what was I saying? Oh, you don't need super good watercolor paper, so if you have some cheap stuff that you bought, this is a good chance to use that up. You might want to tape it down to your table, your craft mat, or if you've got like a clipboard or something, that will help everything so it doesn't buckle and whatnot. But this worked out pretty well for me. I didn't worry about it too much, and this one I went a little bit overboard with the colors actually compared to my other ones, but you'll see in the end it comes out really, really pretty. So just get it to where you like it. You do not need to add this much color. You can do like a few dots of yellow, a few dots of pink. It doesn't matter. It's totally personal preference. And like I said, when I was doing this one, I had already done 3 others. So I kind of went a little bit overboard just seeing where this one would take me. And now, like I said, there's lots and lots and lots of dry time on these videos. So I think on some of them I cut it out a little bit, but I do also know that it kind of helps to show it real time. There we come back and it's dry. Now I'm putting some, before I get to the black, I did decide to put some dark blue on here, and you'll see that I'm not getting a lot of paint out, and that's because I'm really trying to use up the Colorburst colors I have on this palette, because some of them I've had, because I just let them dry and then I reuse them. So I'm just kind of trying to use what I got, use up my supplies, just kind of building my base. I like this card on this background design because it's just fun to play and see what you can come up with. And it just looks like a mess, honestly, until the magic starts to happen towards the end. So The biggest thing you need with your paints that you're using for this project is they all need to be water-based. Distressed inks work super well. I did not want to use those exclusively because I just have the minis, and I felt like I was using up a ton of my black. And then I felt like I needed a little bit darker ink here, so I went and got my Stampin' Up! My Night of Navy, because I just wanted to try getting a little deeper blue background, and my Ken Oliver watercolors, the blues were a little brighter, so I wanted something a little deeper, and used my Stampin' Up! Ink. But everything needs to be water-based. Like, do not use StazOn. Do not use Versamark. Memento's good. Distress inks are good. Any Stampin' Up! Ink is good. Anything that is water-based. And a chamois is a handy tool, and you're also going to need paper towels because I do a lot of blotting to kind of mix it up and just kind of remove color. It's like you can almost start to see now where the whole thing is going, and when you go in to lift the color back up, that's when you can kind of see really what's going to happen. And you want to make sure you dry really well between layers. On one of my other cards, I did not at one point, and when I did some of the finishing touches, it kind of got a little muddy. So make sure you dry in between your layers really, really, really well. So really, a heat tool is kind of a heat gun is kind of a must for this, unless you have a lot of patience to wait in between, but a heat gun is really super, super helpful. Now I'm just trying to take the ink. There you go. You can see I'm starting to get a little bit more of the black. And you can do a little bit less, and because like when I did the blue, I got a little too much. But you can do like stop just before you think you have enough and wet it down, and I just rub it in with my fingers just willy-nilly to kind of spread it around. You do not want it to be nice and smooth and even. You want it to kind of be, messy and imperfect, because that's kind of the look we're going for. And I think I'm going to blot it again here because got a little too much ink, and I really want to start lifting so I can see some of the colors behind. Sorry about getting off frame a little bit. But this is a really good way to just kind of play and see what your watercolors can do. It's just fun. So, and earlier in the video, you saw me using a water brush. You do not need one of those. Just a wet paintbrush of choice and some good rinse water is really all you need. I was just kind of using what I had handy. And at this point, it does take quite a bit to get it to dry well. You can start to see it's already got that little bit of a mottled background, kind of, sky-like. And I wanted just a little bit more black in a few places, so I just decided to use my craft mat and my brush to kind of get it so I would not have quite so much color, like if I, press the stamp down. Again, this type of a progress is a work in progress. This is not really a super defined step-by-step video. It's just kind of a video that shows, the steps you can take and the things you can do to try to achieve the look you like. And I'm just spraying water. And then I decide, you know what, let's just use up this paint. Let's see if we can make it look a little funky by just smushing it. And it smushed it in a little bit more than I wanted, but it's all good. And if your edges aren't, I always cut my pieces a little bit bigger than I need so I can trim them down. So if your colors are not all the way out to your edge, for me, it is not a big deal at all. Usually the watercolor paper comes larger an 8.5 by 11. It usually comes, let's see, 9 by 12. So I still just cut that in fourths. So then you have a good amount of space to cut down the edges for your card top. So just keep that in mind when you're working. That's what I do anyway. You can do it however you want. If you want to cut it to your 4 by 5.25 or 4.25 by 5.5 to cover the top of your card, you certainly may do that. So card making is one of those things that, you know, this is how I do it. Use that knowledge as you will and have a blast. Dry, 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 dry. It seems like all I do is dry on this project, but it is really important. And the more layers you do, the more you have to dry it. But I mean, overall, it goes along pretty quick. I mean, this video, it only took me to make this card back. It took me about 15 minutes because I was being a little extra, was playing a little bit extra, but they actually go pretty fast. And if you're doing multiples at once, you know, you can dry it most of the way and then set it aside and whatnot. Because the other ones I did like 3 of them all at one time. Now for this next step, you want to clear your work area, and if you have a box available that you can use as a shield or a guide, you really want to do that. To create some stars, I'm going to use some Copic white, what is it called? Copic Opaque White. It is a water-based paint, and it is by Copic, but it's not alcohol-based, it's water-based. So I had some left over from my other projects on my palette there, and I just mixed in some more water. And you just take a loose brush, get it wet, dip it in, and you can see there's many different flicking techniques. With this brush, I find it easy enough to just tap it with my finger. But you can see when you put that white on there, and because your card base is dry, it doesn't soak in, it just kind of sits on top. But I'm going to tell you, these little white dots, when you flick, are going to go everywhere on your workspace. I'm still finding little white dots everywhere. So again, you know, dry it in between. But if your paper is wet at all, when you do this white paint, it will soak in and it will not look super defined like it does. And you can add more, you can be done, it doesn't matter. It's just all depends on your taste and how you want it. Now, I was going to spray my shimmer spray, but I realized that my bottle was just about empty, so I'm looking for my supplies so I can fill my little bottle back up so I can spray it down for you. So, and I just use Perfect Pearls, and I have a little spray bottle that I got from Michael's. They came in like a set of 2 or 3, I think. They're recollections, but you just put a little bit of the Perfect Pearls in the bottle with some water and you shake it up. You can kind of see it in there now. It's all that shimmery water. And this one tends to spray a little fine, so I try to kind of be hesitant with it and get a few more glops because I like the kind of gloppy shimmer. Dry, dry, dry. I had my heat gun going a lot during this process, but you can kind of see you're starting to get that galaxy, that Milky Way kind of look. And you know, if you wanted to cut like a template, you know, so out of a piece of paper, so like you only got your splatters like in one section, or you only got your shimmer in one area, you could totally do that. Just, you know, I had to do that for my daughter's cake. I did because I wanted kind of a like a yin and yang shape where the Milky Way kind of was. So I just cut a piece out of a piece of paper and I laid it on top when I was spraying the shimmery stuff on her cake. Not the same shimmery, it was edible stuff. I didn't use the same stuff. But it helped a lot because it kind of kept my medium where I wanted it, so it wasn't just all over willy-nilly. But you could totally do that with this too. So here's the one I just did for you. You can kind of see that shimmer on there. You can see that's my favorite one of the other ones that I had done previously. It was a little more black. The one I did for you today came out a little bit more with a blue hue, which is fine. But there you go. There's all the galaxies. Thank you so much. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Hit subscribe if you want to see more. And find something crafty to do. See you later.